Cybersecurity buyers are starting to move away from traditional search engines, turning instead toward platforms that synthesize data instantly. In the traditional journey, a prospect searches online, clicks through several nearly identical vendor blogs, and ends up more confused than when they started. Compare that to the AI path. Buyers ask an AI to evaluate specific vendors, receiving a synthesized shortlist. Because the AI handled the initial technical evaluation, visitors arrive further down the funnel. Acting on a synthesized recommendation leads to significantly higher conversion rates. For security vendors, earning a citation in these AI responses is a much stronger signal of intent than ranking for a generic keyword. The problem is that most cybersecurity marketing is saturated with the same generic claims. Every vendor promises zero trust or next-gen protection. Large language models ignore these buzzwords. They synthesize answers from sources that provide specific data and structured evidence. To be cited, your content must provide information gain. You must offer proprietary data or named mechanisms that don't exist anywhere else on the web. If a vendor's site looks like a generic product brochure, the LLM treats it as noise and excludes it from the final answer. This raises a difficult question. How does a brand restructure its operations to force an AI to recommend them? The first step in Generative Engine Optimization is extracting proprietary intelligence to build an internal knowledge base. This is a high-friction, high-gain activity. Mining data from red team findings and incident logs provides the unique threat intelligence language models crave. But the cost is a massive resource drain, pulling security engineers away from primary jobs to fuel marketing. Gaining visibility in AI search requires a willingness to trade the ease of standard copywriting for the high friction of data extraction. Even with the right data, your publication format has to change. You are now writing for machines, not just for human persuasion. This involves optimizing for retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, the process LLMs use to pull in external data to answer questions. This means replacing generic marketing paragraphs with structured data tables, specific entity definitions, and quantified metrics. While this formatting makes your content highly retrievable for an AI, the trade-off is that it can appear dry and technical to a human reader. Successfully navigating this requires hiring technical writers who understand structured intelligence rather than traditional copywriters. Publishing the data is only part of the entire process. You must ensure the AI trusts that data. AI systems look for consensus on platforms like Reddit, Quora, and security forums to verify authority. Roughly 25% of your GEO investment should go toward discovery and citation seeding. Doing this manually is slow, bringing a high risk of community pushback if perceived as corporate shilling. Proprietary data only becomes a competitive advantage once you have established the third-party consensus needed to prove its validity to the AI. To manage this entire complex cycle effectively, you have to make a choice between two entirely different types of marketing software. You can invest in read-only monitoring tools or full execution platforms. Monitoring tools are cost-effective and don't change workflows, but only tell you you're invisible. Full execution platforms fix the gap, but require a higher budget and data-driven methodology. Data on a dashboard is completely useless unless you are prepared to invest in the execution required to change your visibility. This brings us to the final calculation. Is overhauling your marketing pipeline worth the internal friction? It's important to note that GEO content often improves traditional SEO as a side effect, because Google's algorithms increasingly reward the same high-quality, structured data that AI systems prefer. This matrix shows the shift in priorities. You have to move away from vanity metrics like keyword volume. The new standard is share of voice, the percentage of relevant AI responses in which your brand actually appears as a recommendation. Success in this environment requires replacing the standard content calendar with a rigorous pipeline for turning internal expertise into a measurable market advantage. Whether this major strategic pivot is right for you depends entirely on the technical assets your team currently controls. Teams sitting on massive amounts of proprietary threat intelligence and incident response data are the best candidates for this strategy. It allows data-rich companies to steal visibility from larger competitors who rely on generic buzzwords. However, early-stage startups without real-world case studies or teams that cannot get time with their engineers should avoid this strategy for now. In the era of AI search, your competitive advantage is determined by the depth of your structured intelligence, not the size of your marketing budget.